Good evening, everybody. Good morning, I guess, as we're launching this here, tape delayed on Saturday morning. Thank you for joining us. If you're a Browns fan, well, welcome to the off season. But we got to start it a lot later than we normally did. Damn it, our off season's a lot less. I'm your host, Tony Lane of the Dude Network, and beside me, the man, the myth, the absolute legend, the motivator of everybody over at Big Play Network. What did I call you? The needle mover of social media.
I'm
Chris,
only a
Reflog.
motivator over there because everybody has to work so much harder when I'm around. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
It's because you got
I'm
big
like,
brain and big ideas. They'll figure it
that's,
out.
that's right. That's right.
That's
How you doing,
good,
Tony?
man.
That was rough last week. I
That
mean,
was rough.
you get a taste of the playoffs, and quickly that taste turns ugly there for the Cleveland Browns, unfortunately. Hopefully we have something to build upon, but still, in the moment, man, that was rough. That was rough watching CJ Stroud just pick apart our defense all day long. And then Flacco follow up with those two pick sixes. It was just a kick in the groin all afternoon, unfortunately. But we survive. We
We did.
survive as a people. We may not advance, but we survive.
And we find the silver lining, as we always do, which
And we
is,
fire some people like we always do too. Why not, right? Get rid of
I will
Stump.
say,
Goodbye. Running game wasn't, he only got what? 100 and some odd yards out of Nick Chubb? I mean, come on. What are you going to do? If you can only get that many yards in a season, then you got to go. Get rid of Alex Van Pelt. Goodbye. Come on. Coach,
I'm
goodbye.
not going to lie, that all caught me off guard. I really thought we had a good core there. Alex Van Pelt seemed to be pretty good, like, I guess, transitioner or executor of Stefanski's message there, because they really seem to kind of be turning things around consistently. Probably the most consistent offense we've seen since that one year we had Shanahan, but there's been several years like that under Stefanski Van Pelt. So tough one.
The theory is that was part of the undoing, was the fact that they did so well under Flacco. They said, well, this antiquated offense isn't going to work for a guy like Deshaun Watson. So sure, it works for a guy like Flacco. You could see that. That's not going to work when Watson gets back. So we need to bring in a new offensive coordinator, a new system, more tailored to our $230 million quarterback. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Watson is who he is. We paid him a lot of money, so now we're setting up the system around him. We'll see what happens.
You're all in, so you might as well keep pushing those chips in. If you're going to make that investment and that commitment, you might as well
In
put
for a
everything
dime,
in
in for a dollar.
Yeah, well, that was at least we got a first good half last week. We were in at 17-14. We were, going to halftime. We were still very much in it. So at least we got a good half. I just wished our game wasn't first. I hated that we were the first game. I was hoping we were the last so I could at least enjoy football, because I'm telling you right now, homeboy took care of some to-do list on Sunday and did not fire up the tube a lot.
Hard to watch.
We were organizing, we were throwing stuff out, we were doing all the things, but we were not watching the football things on Sunday. It ruined
Between
my whole
the Browns losing and then putting a game on the Peacock where you have to pay for it. I was kind of out myself on a lot of those games.
Did you pay?
Oh, I did not. No, I listened to it old-fashioned style. I listened to it on the radio. I like to listen to Westwood One on the playoffs, with that big voice guy. It feels like the playoffs, and you get Westwood One on. So I always listen to a couple of games while I'm doing other things, just so I could get that feel every once in a while in the playoffs. And the Peacock gave me the exact opportunity to do that, because I wasn't going to fork over $6 whole that I had worked so hard to earn.
So here's a follow-up question to that before we get into last week's results. If Browns won that game, are you coughing up that $6? Because my wallet was ready.
I would have had plenty of $6 to cough up.
Yeah.
Because I was so heavy into the Browns on Tipico that it was going to come pouring and cascading my way. I would have easily written that $6 check. Of course, not a check, but, just griced that and paid for all the Peacocks in the world, because I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, swipe or no swiping, for sure.
That's right.
So we did have some games that we did pick. Obviously, we can safe to say, and the crowd can say, we're both 0-1 after the start of the Browns game here last week. But we do have our results from last week. And so here is how it shook out after the first 6 games in a non-biased NFL Pickem show. And this is unacceptable. There's
Pucker
no
up.
ties. No ties in football. This isn't Europe. This is
Pucker up.
America.
We're kissing our sisters right there.
Even
Even
though my sister's an
Steven.
awesome person. Your sister's an awesome person too. We could have worse sisters to kiss, so
Even Steven, 3-3. Come on. What is that after the first week?
it's not gonna work. We got what stinks is, it's even number games each week, so we might have to have the ultimate tiebreaker of total points if there isn't some separation starting here soon.
This could be the slow build to the Super Bowl, where the Super Bowl is going to decide it all. So
it only makes sense that the Super Bowl would be the deciding factor. We might have to throw some fun prop bets in that one there too.
Pro Bowl is going to be the ultimate. That's really the way it should be.
Yeah, because
the Bud
nothing
Bowl.
like
The Bud Bowl would be the ultimate, actually.
Yeah, man, I'm down with that too. I mean, because there's nothing
you are
like
familiar with the Bud Bowl.
What's the Bud Bowl? Is that where they do like the flag?
No, the Bud Bowl, it used to be during the Super Bowl, and maybe you're too young, but it used to be during the Super Bowl. You'd have Bud Light go up against Budweiser. And they do that, over several commercial breaks. And it was a thing for like 4 or 5 years, the Bud Bowl. So
I think it's just so faint. God, I feel.
Or the Puppy Bowl. We could do the Puppy Bowl now.
Puppy Bowl, yeah. I remember like the Budweiser Penguins. That was a good one.
Well, the Penguin was
the Frogs.
Bud Ice was the Penguins, and then the Frogs were Budweiser.
Yeah, he'd be in the back seat going doobie doobie doo. Yeah, that was it. Nailed that octave too. So 3-3. First game Saturday. They're making us wait till 4:30 in the afternoon on the Saturday over in Baltimore. Hopefully there's about 3 feet of snow, but only on the home side of the field. Sorry, non-biased show here. But we have CJ Stroud. Can he duplicate it? Oh, the playoff picture right here. We got the AFC. We got Houston, Baltimore. We got Kansas City and Buffalo on the AFC side. And then the Buccaneers survived, and so did our Great Lake counterpart, the Detroit Lions. And then the Packers with the upset over the Cowgirls, and the 49ers getting their first action here in this week's matchup. And the first matchup, like I said, Houston at Baltimore. Baltimore, a 9-point home favorite, 3-point swing with getting the home team here. Spreads down below. And these are as of Thursday night, so if they changed here, don't yell at us. Yell at the time we did it. So -9 is the line, but we're going to pick straight up. And then who we think we like on this spread. Chris, guest honors, who we got here in this one. I mean, it's a layup on paper, but can CJ Stroud keep this thing rolling here for the Houston Texans?
Yeah, one of the nice things for Baltimore is having that week off. They have been able to get totally healthy, it seems, up front on the offensive line. This team is very dangerous when they are completely healthy, and it looks like they are going to be just about at 100% coming into this game. So that does not bode well for the Texans. However, this is going to be the classic case of rust versus readiness. The Texans come off of a great game there, unfortunately, against our Cleveland Browns. CJ Stroud looked good. Nico Collins looked good. Schultz looked good at the tight end. Like I said last week, the Texans have got like 2 targets on offense, 2 guys you got to stop. They didn't have much of a running game. And guess what? The Cleveland Browns in our secondary couldn't do it. I would guess that Baltimore is going to give them a much better run at it than what the Browns did. I still look for CJ Stroud, though, to have a good game. I think he's at the point now, and you respect him enough to think, hey, he's not going to make big rookie mistakes out there. He's going to be playing like a veteran, but we can control him. We know who his targets are. We know what they like to do. So I think the Ravens can scheme and kind of scheme around that. Having said that, what was it, 9 points as a spread there?
Yeah, that's a big one.
And that's a big one. That really is. And I know this is going to be tough. I know the feeling of the Texans is probably going to be that they're playing with house money coming into this game, as it probably should be. I mean, it's a surprise that they're in this situation. You come back a couple of weeks ago, you didn't even know whether they were making the playoffs. And now they sit playing the number 1 seed in the AFC. Having said all that, I do think that they can cover. I think the Texans can cover. I think that that's what I'm going to go with in this game because I think that number is really big. And think CJ Stroud's going to keep this thing close with his arm once again. I think Baltimore is going to play well. I think the Texans are going to play well. And I think it's going to stay within that touchdown margin, which would, of course, give the advantage to the Texans. I think ultimately Baltimore does end up winning this ball game.
Yeah, I'm with you. As much we'd like to do that old radio show as we talked about last week, I'm gonna have to go with you 100% on this. I do think Baltimore wins. Would it surprise me if Baltimore comes out flat? No. It's also 28 degrees and sunny according to the weather. So Houston's not going to be in the confines of their dome anymore. They're going to be out in the elements, so that's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But the 9-point spread's got a backdoor cover written all over it. I could see Houston scoring that pointless touchdown in the end to get it to under 10 points here and give them the cover. So we are probably, worst case scenario, both going to be 3-4 after that one. And hopefully we still have some money in our pockets with that bet. Next game, we got Packers at the San Francisco 49ers, the team that no one saw coming out of anywhere. Green Bay comes out. Jordan Love has a great 4-5 final games. It carried over in the playoffs, just like C.J. Stroud, another young quarterback making his mark in his first ever postseason. Can he get it going? I don't know. I mean, Brock Purdy, you're not dealing with like a wild gunslinger back there. 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 4,280 yards on the year, and that was without even playing in a game. So, led by Ayuk, who had a really good year. He outshined, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, weapons everywhere. Green Bay just got a young core that's just playing really good football right now. The line is Niners, even bigger than Baltimore, 9.5. Chris, who do we got in this one?
Yeah, you got a case here of a very veteran team in the 49ers against the youngest team, I believe, in the league, or one of them in the Packers. Jordan Love really had a nice coming out party last week. It's fortunate that you're able to play a team like the Dallas Cowboys, who pulled the Dallas Cowboys last week. Just came
Hated
out.
to see it. Hated to see it.
Yeah, right. Came out flat, played flat, and lost. And it sounds like they're going to be keeping Mike McCarthy around for the next year, so we can see a redux of that next year in the playoffs as expected. But kudos to this Packers team. A lot like the Texans, young team, young quarterback, inexperienced. Comes out, looks really good. They had a couple of corners. They've got a couple of really good corners on this Green Bay squad, which I think is going to keep Brock Purdy on his toes as he's passing the ball downfield. You got Bosa is going to be all over. Going after Love all afternoon. So that's going to be tough. I think I'm going to go the opposite way of that first game, though. I don't think Green Bay is going to cover. I think 49ers are built more for the postseason. I think they're going to come out very hungry. I think they're going to come out very ready for this game. And I think the 49ers are going to be able to win and cover in this game. And Green Bay on the way up, but this matchup is just too much for them this week.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay's playing on house money, same as Houston. They were thankful to make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game ahead of schedule. And I'm with you, man. You're
2 for 2. We're not playing very good
anything,
radio here.
Anything, I know, anything's possible, but I just rattled off McCaffrey and Purdy are two of your top MVP candidates, and they're in the same backfield. You got Ayuk, who's going to be an all-pro, and then you got Deebo Samuel, who's a Pro Bowler. You got George Kittle. I mean, these are guys that have been in this situation. They're very experienced. They're on their home field. Now, we'll say Green Bay's getting to play in some warm terrain, so maybe that'll get their bones nice and warm, and they'll be all excited to not be playing and practicing up at old Curly Lambeau Stadium up there. But I hope we disagree on the next two because I can't disagree with you on this one. San Fran, the Niners, unfortunately, and just want to remind everybody that the Browns did beat Baltimore and San Francisco. So who's laughing now? They
probably
are,
those other two teams. To be honest,
I was going to say they are laughing, but you know what? You lost to the Browns. Joke's on you.
That's right. We do have some bragging rights here as we sit on the couch watching the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right, San Fran, and we're both got them covering the spread. I also would be surprised if Green Bay's within 2 touchdowns at the end of this one here. That doesn't mean they're going to play bad. I just think San Fran's just going to consistently space themselves in this game here.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's just way too smart.
I will give you this. If it does come down to a field goal, we saw it in the game, the Browns against San Fran. They do have kind of a shaky kicker back there. So I would not be surprised to see it go the other way if they let it be that close coming down the stretch. So
Yeah,
give
and I
you that forewarning.
gotta love the cold kicker. Yeah. He that was the most high pressure situation he had of the year, and he did not handle it well
That's
in
right.
Cleveland with his family watching. Oh, this just hated to hear that too. That was terrible. It just felt so bad for the guy. With all his family down in their Michigan gear, just so sad.
Just felt so bad for him. Just it was
Moment of silence for Jake Moody's feelings. All right, we're done. All right. On the next one here, Sunday, 3:00. We get the random 3:00 start time on Sunday, just in time for you to get home from worshiping baby Jesus with your family and going out to lunch at the local Golden Corral. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. This is an interesting one. Tampa Bay just took care of business at home against a struggling Philadelphia Eagles team.
yeah.
But we've seen Baker when he gets on a roll. We've seen it. Is he on a roll? He's got one. He's familiar with Detroit, but in the Cleveland years, because they got to play preseason game against Detroit each and every season. So he knows this terrain up here. I don't know. The spread is Lions minus 6.5. So they think they're 3.5-point favorites on a neutral site, which I would agree with. Detroit, I don't know if Laporta's back or what the health situation is, but they've had a pretty good season this year, and now Matt Campbell's got them boys believing they can do it in the playoffs. Who you got here on this one?
I've got the Lions, and I think the Lions are going to cover. I think this is going to be the end of the mystical run for one Baker Mayfield, which tip of the hat to him, did a nice job there getting the Buccaneers as far as he has, once again, a little bit of magic that we've seen here in Cleveland before. He's able to sprinkle down there in Tampa and get them believing. I think it's going to be the end of the road, though, because I think Detroit's going to get after him a little bit. Aiden Hutchinson is going to come after him all afternoon, going to make things miserable for Mr. Baker Mayfield and put a little bit of pressure on him. He gets running, gets out of his element a little bit, and I think it could go the other way for him. So, and on the opposite side, I think Detroit is also one of those teams of destiny, if you will. I really like what they've put together. I like Campbell. I like just the overall vibe of the team and the fact that, hey, it's Detroit. It's been a downtrodden, and we talked about it last week, a downtrodden football program up there. It's in the Midwest. It's one of the like the brothers of the Cleveland Browns in a way, in that the fans are very much the same way that we are. They treat the team the same way. It's like family up there. It means a lot to them. It meant a lot to get that victory, first in 30 years, and I think they're going to continue. I don't think that ride ends here, and I think they roll easily over Tampa Bay, an old foe from when they were all in the NFC Central together back in the day. So it's kind of interesting. You look at these NFC teams. I think 3 of the 4 were all in that division at one point with the Packers and these 2 teams, both Detroit and Tampa Bay at one point. But
I remember Green Bay and Tampa Bay; those were some dog fights.
They were.
Remember they were like the Allstott and Trent Dilfer versus Brett Favre and whoever they had up there. God, I forget who they
Mark
had.
Chmura.
Mark Chmura,
tight end back in the day. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know they had Sterling Sharp, but he was gone by then, I think.
There were some wild divisions back then, because then you had the AFC Central, the North. We had Jacksonville. Remember that?
I don't remember Jacksonville being our division.
Jacksonville was our division. So you had the NFC side where they had Tampa Bay, and we had Jacksonville there for a bit.
Yeah. Well, the NFC East still doesn't make no damn sense. That's for sure.
No, that's right.
Dallas.
Those are all the leftovers.
We'll sprinkle a little Dallas in on the East Coast of the Gulf, maybe.
But the NFC South is the real leftovers. The East Coast, they just wanted to keep the big markets together there.
Yeah. But it's not rigged. Entertainment industry.
Right.
We got to do something different here. I'm going to take
Baker.
I want to take Baker. I want to take the Buccaneers.
I think with Baker, baby.
Yeah, let's ride with Baker. Let's do it. I mean, you can make a case either way, but I'm also a momentum guy, and I just, like I said at the start of this, when Baker gets going, sometimes he's the most unstoppable quarterback in the league when he gets feeling it, when he's get the feeling dangerous, as we got to love that slaying up here.
Yep.
And you know what, man? This is me just burying the hatchet with Tampa Bay here and Baker Mayfield, and wishing him the best this weekend, and just go and win the damn thing, because you know what? It's the most Browns thing ever that he would go on a run in Tampa Bay. So I'm going with Tampa Bay, because Browns karma is the most consistent thing I have ever seen in sports prediction world in the history of ever.
Yeah, and you have a couple of things that could happen this week. You have Baker could go on a run, continue his magical, mystical run, and then also have the Ravens just totally destroy the Texans, and then everybody looking back at Cleveland going, what are you? So that would be your ultimate duo right there.
Yeah. Here's another fun little scenario. Green Bay pulls it out on Saturday. Tampa's playing for home field in the NFC Championship game.
That's incredible. That's
incredible. Now that is the most thing, the Cleveland thing that we could see happen.
Yeah.
Him coming out there planting the Tampa Bay flag right at midfield, like,
Bring back the ghosts of Warren Sapp and Rob Johnson out there to do the flip of the coin, the ceremonial flip of the coin at the beginning of the game.
I think it was Brad Johnson. I forgot old Brad.
Was it Brad Johnson? I forget the Johnsons down there.
It was Brad, yeah. Rob was the guy that flopped up in Buffalo. Oh, Brad was that guy.
It's one of the Johnsons.
It was Brad. I'm 90.
Yeah, I think it was Brad Johnson. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Brad. But either way, I forgot all about that dude. And, and then like the
Chucky,
next year,
Chucky just comes out of the ether. His head coach just walks out there. And then Jerry Jones signs him on the spot. I forgot about this guy. Mike McCarthy, you're going.
Sorry, I was high that night. I was on some things. So I didn't really mean what I said. Yeah, you're gone. What the hell, Mike McCarthy? How did he survive
in that regime? And with Bill Belichick out there, and with
you know what that means?
There's some big flashy names out there that you'd think would catch the eye of an owner such as Jerry Jones.
My guess is Jerry Jones reached out and Bill Belichick was like, absolutely effing not. And he was probably, you know what, Mike, I've thought about it. And I think we need to give you another year. You really got a good thing going here. I'm just not ready to break this.
I guarantee there was a conversation that was had. Bill Belichick picked up the phone to one Bill Parcells and said, hey, what's it like to work with Jerry? Because, of course, the both of them worked together with the Giants, famously won a Super Bowl together. So the two of them know each other very well. And Mr. Parcells said, you don't want any part of that.
Yeah. He's like, like a soldering iron, stab it in your eyeball repeatedly. And that's better than what I had to deal with. You'll get paid, though.
Yep. And
it'll be interesting where
Belichick was like, I've got enough of that.
I think where do you think Belichick ends at? My guess is Washington.
I'm shocked that he's going for a second interview with Atlanta, and by the time this thing airs, he may have a job already. But I kind of thought he was going to sit out for a year, to be honest with you. I thought he would definitely come and coach again because it's in his blood. He's going to coach up until the day he dies. That's just what he knows. That's what he is. He's just one of those guys built. But I thought he might take advantage of, hey, this is my time where I'm going to have a year, kind of do my thing, see how things settle, and then pick out a really good organization that I feel really good about after sitting back after a year. But looks like you're right. He may be jumping right back in.
I think, and I could see Pete Carroll doing too, because at their age, I mean, I hate to say it, like 72-73, and you're chasing after Don Shula's record. You kind of probably just like, I got to find into the best situation I can get into and just try to get these wins, and hopefully we make a couple runs along the way. But
Pete
man, that
Carroll,
Atlanta, I don't know what Atlanta's got to work with because Desmond Ritter's not the answer. I mean, they're gonna have, and they don't really have a really strong first pick because they were in the playoffs toward the end. They're gonna have like in the teens, so they better trade up or something. It'll be
yeah.
interesting.
And Pete
Also depends
Carroll's
on who's available.
kind of a free spirit type of guy. So I could see Pete Carroll doing just about anything. He may just stay there, want to hang around like he's doing right now, or he may want to go back to the college program and go mess with a bunch of college students once again. I mean, he's just like that young mind type of guy, and he just kind of has fun. So I could see him doing a bunch of different things. I don't think he necessarily wants to go through the grind and continuing that grind of the NFL.
I know what grind I want to go through. His vitamin regimen, dude, because that shit is working. I mean, that
No
that guy
doubt.
is clean living. That guy looks like he's like he probably
Especially
doesn't
in
know
the
what he probably
NFL.
doesn't know what garage beer line's missing. You know what he's missing, but
Yeah, when you go in the NFL, you're supposed to not look good. You're supposed to look like Bill Belichick by the end of it, you know? You're supposed to look kinda like the Crypt Keeper or, the Emperor from Star Wars. You're supposed to look like that, but you're right. He's just kept that youth, that exuberance about him. He can still throw a football. There was that video of earlier, it was like preseason, where he's just bombing it like 60 yards. Maybe it wasn't that far, but it was just a bullet.
felt
It's
like
like,
it.
my God, man. This guy, I want to be him right now. Forget about in like 50 years.
I'm telling you, that fountain of youth. It's a real. I wouldn't want to leave Seattle either if I looked that damn good. It must be in the ozone up there.
Yeah, it's USC. He was at USC for a while. I think they got something in the water there.
Well, then that explains everything. Who knows what kind of good stuff you can get your hands on down there. You can put some antler cream on your face. Shout out Ray Lewis. I mean, you can do all the things.
And by the way, USC, welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Even though Pac-10 was tough this year, I will say
Yeah.
Pac-10 was they had a hell of a send off. We do have one more game here, and I think they saved the best for last because this is the closest spread. This is the most controversial game. You take out the home field, they would have this game at even Steven, but it's Kansas City Swifty Chiefs over at the Buffalo Tundraland Bills at 6:30 on CBS on Sunday. No Peacock games this weekend, thank the goodness Lord. And
They already got their Swifty money from last week.
Yeah, they got their Brinks truck. That is for certain. Tickets are as low as 100.
Not put it on there because everybody's already ordered it and canceled it, and they're still running through the end of the month. So even if you put it on, you're not going to get any more orders.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I caught my eye here real quick. I'm looking at ticket prices on the ESPN. Baltimore game tickets as low as $80. Green Bay at San Francisco tickets as low as $160. Chiefs at Bills as low as $145. But in Detroit, cheapest tickets $461.
God bless those people.
Let's go Lake Erie, boys.
That's right. Go. Showing up.
Let's go.
It's like Haley's Comet up there. I mean, come on. When's the last time they won a super or won
this
a
is amazing.
Playoff? 30
They're getting
years?
2 playoff games. They're getting 2. They got a home game because Dallas lost, right?
Yeah.
Because they would have been on the road. They were the low division. Team. No. Tampa Bay was the second division team. Yeah, right here's the.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was because Tampa. Yeah. Well, they would have had it either way.
Yeah, Dallas.
It was Green Bay because Green Bay.
If Dallas would have won, then Detroit would have been the 3rd seed, and then it would have been Tampa Bay. There would have been no wild card team, so it would have been Tampa Bay at San Fran, and then it would have been Detroit at Dallas.
Yep, you're right.
How that would have worked out. So, okay, look, hey, attaboy, Green Bay helping out your NFC North brethren. Let's go. I like it. Win one for the Gipper and the home field for the. So we got Chiefs at Bills. Bills -3 because they are the home team. It's going to be 20 degrees, and looks like cloudy but no snow is what the forecast is showing for us. We can take the snow out of the equation. But after last week, both these teams, it will not affect both of them because they played in the same weather. Actually, this will probably be an improvement. They have the over-under at 45.5 on this, which isn't a lot of points between these two offenses, so they must be expecting it to be a cold, slow-moving game up at Orchard Park. It's going to be a wild one. Buffalo really turned it on the last half of the year. Kansas City kind of stumbled, but then they won a couple down the stretch. They looked good last weekend in the cold weather and the elements against I don't know if you can call Miami on their tip-top game last week, but they still showed up and took care of business the way they were supposed to. Who you got in the finale here this weekend in this divisional round, Chris?
I like the Bills. And I like the Bills being at home in this game, in this environment. I know Kansas City is used to these type of elements as they were at home, but Kansas City is a lot more beatable on the road than what they are at home because Arrowhead is so tough to play in. Buffalo is tough to play in. We see those hardy fans out there. And then Josh Allen, the highest rated quarterback over the course of the season, played really well last week and ran a little bit. My God, that one run just right up the middle for over 50 yards for a touchdown score. When he did that, it was like, okay, now we've got another level here. I know it was against the Steelers. The Steelers didn't look particularly good. But man, oh man, Josh Allen adds that element to what he's doing, then he's going to be awful tough to stop. And I really just like the momentum for Buffalo right now. I don't think, I think Patrick Mahomes can get rattled. I know that he's the magician back there and he's able to throw the ball from all different arm angles. But I think Buffalo can get to him. I think they can rattle him a little bit. And I think that being on the road is going to be difficult for him in this type of an environment. And I don't know. I like Buffalo and I like Buffalo to cover here.
All right. I'm going Oppo. I'm going
Taco on this one too, huh?
I hate it. I hate to say it, but I'm going to go with Kansas City. You're the king of the castle until someone knocks you out of the castle.
Sure.
And it's Kansas City's game to lose. And I do like that Kansas City won a few games going into this one. I feel like they righted the ship. They had their rough spot. Dallas and Philly, they had their rough patch right at the end of the year. Weren't able to turn the ship around in time. I feel Kansas City has done so. Still ended up at 11-6. But, just I don't know. They had a really rough middle of the stretch. I just really think Mahomes and Kelsey and all the players and Rashee Rice had a hell of a game last week. He's been a hell of a pick in the second round for the Chiefs there. And they got another weapon. He's no Tyreek Hill, but he's shown he's going to be quite the contributor. And, I just think Buffalo just had too many question marks this year. I just don't – they had a really rough offseason, and that carried over into the season. I still think there's some distractions lingering in that locker room. I think the winning has cured a lot of it. But I do think that Kansas City just unfortunately does it again. Gosh, I hope they don't make it. And I really hope I'm wrong. But I think Kansas City wins.
Here's the linchpin. Here's what it's going to come down to for me in this game. Patrick Mahomes has not played a road playoff game yet in his career. Has not yet. And this is going to be big to see if he can do it on the road, which he hasn't done in his career to this point. And Buffalo is an awful tough place to play.
I had no idea that stat.
Yeah. First ever road playoff game for Patrick Mahomes.
I kind of like my pick a little bit more because he's like he's got to prove it kind of guy. There's not a whole lot that he hasn't accomplished, so he's gonna quiet the naysayers on Sunday at 6:30. I feel it, and I feel like we're not going to be. There's still a chance we could be. We could still be tied next week, man. Unfortunately, we don't have an odd number of differences here today, but we got two right on the money and two oppos.
Now, wait a second. I read one article that said he has not played on the road. Now it says there are two at Philly. He won at Philly and he lost at Tampa Bay. No.
That can't be right because that's NFC.
You know what those are? Those are Super Bowls.
Tampa.
Those are super
Oh
sites.
yeah. When Tom
Oh,
Brady
okay. Those are neutral site, but he hasn't gone on
neutral
the road
sites.
on the road. That's why.
No.
So my
Yeah.
stat holds up.
Well, I guess like the Super Bowl technically is not a home field, middle of the, but it's not a. You're not going to someone else's house with their fans.
That's correct. That's
Yeah,
correct. So
yeah. I'm
those are
going. Hey,
neutral
you're right
sites.
then.
He's 1-1 neutral sites, but on the road, he has not played a true road game yet in the playoffs. So there you go. So cleared it up for everybody scratching their heads. He has played 2 Super Bowls that were at neutral sites. He is 1-1 in that. But in terms of a true playoff road game, he has not played one. He will
I
play
tell
one
you
in
what.
Buffalo, and that is going to be the determining factor, I think, in this game.
Here's another question mark that comes up. Josh Allen falls short against Kansas City again at home this year. Finally gets Kansas City at home. What does the people think of Josh Allen after that? If that happens, is
If there,
is, is Pat Mahomes his daddy?
the memes. It's going to be all over the internet that way. But I mean, come on. Josh Allen has been a stud for them. I mean, not being able to get it done, you got to get over the hump at some point there. But, I think you lick your wounds and you roll it back next year with the team. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Josh Allen's going to have a fantastic game. So we will be back here next week to break that down. But I think Josh Allen is gonna satisfy all of his critics and more on Sunday.
Yeah, and Buffalo's defense has been pretty substantial. Last 4 games, 3 points, 10 points, 16 points, 17 points. That's pretty solid. That's real good. And the game before that, 20. And then the game before that, 25. The game before that, 9. So Buffalo's defense has been pretty strong down the stretch here. So we'll see if it's able to shut down this very, very high efficient, playoff proven, tested Kansas City offense. There are some new pieces this year in Kansas City. And, some of these guys are going to be a lot of these guys' first taste of action, like you just pointed out,
A lot
outside
of
of the
fans
confines of
first taste
Arrowhead.
of action of this deep in the playoffs for the Swifties. They don't know what the divisional round is all about. Now
No, they're just like, what bedazzled colored diamonds is she going to have on her, blazer
I
on
wonder
Sunday?
if at this point they're all like, "Hey, how long is this thing anyway? When when
Oh
when when is this
my
thing like?"
god! Like, how much longer? I want to see him on
I
vacation.
thought like last week was supposed to be the end of it, but then I guess we won, so we play again. Now, what happens if we win this? Is this the Super
Next week's
Bowl?
the Super Bowl, right? No, honey, no, sweetheart. It is the championship game. Super Bowl, no, for the division. Oh, this football's so dumb, Dad.
How quickly, if she had been dating somebody on the Cleveland Browns, how quickly would those Swifties have jumped off and jumped back on the bandwagon this season with everything that's gone on? I mean, for us, it's just like a typical Brown season. But for a Swifty, they've got to be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You've got injuries all over the place. We're good. We're bad. We're good. We're bad. Old quarterback comes in that we've never heard of, who could be like our dad, comes in and wins a bunch of games. Like, it would be totally neurotic for them.
Here's a hypothetical for you. If Taylor Swift had to date one Cleveland Browns player, who would it be?
I mean, David Njoku's always walking around with his shirt off, and he's a tight end. So you'd think that she'd kind of gravitate towards a guy like Njoku. I mean, I would, right?
Yeah.
I
If
mean, you
I
see
had
that
to
guy. I mean, you've got even got fans in the stands like ripping off their shirts when he comes out there.
He
Uh,
does.
you know,
Yeah, that angry runs put David Njoku on a whole different level of fame this year.
it
I'm
did.
going to go Harrison Bryant, the
Harrison
Florida
Bryant,
boy.
same position. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a
Now, see,
bachelor. He looks like a nice, reputable young bachelor, and she's got a thing for tight ends, right?
Yeah,
So
that's exactly right. So she's got her pick there. She's got a couple of decent options that she could draft early on. I mean, both high draft picks. I think, Njoku, minus the the drops, he had a pretty good season. He was kind of figuring that out there in the middle. Harrison Bryant had some big moments. So, you're not really going to go
no,
wrong, I don't think, with either of those
I'm
guys.
going to take back my answer. I said wrong. I shouldn't have said it. I'm going Joel Bitonio. Big boys need some love
Yeah.
too, man.
See, that's where I thought you were going to
Fellow
go.
big guy. Big guys, we need
Is he
we need to be
married?
able to.
I know like Wyatt Teller is. I'd say Wyatt Teller.
Yeah,
No
that's
doubt.
why I didn't throw him out there. I
Right.
didn't.
'Cause
He's already doing all
Carly.
right. Wyatt already outkicked his coverage by a landslide. Yeah, and I love Wyatt for giving us big boys some hope there. That was a solid move by him in life. That was I thank him every day for that. I think Joel Bitonio, we'll just say he's not for this because big dudes, they're not going to leave you. They're going to feed you good. They're going to take good care of you. They're going to keep you warm. Final answer, Joel Bitonio.
I tell you what, though, after watching that game, if I was going to go on the defensive side of the ball, I wouldn't date any of them except for JOK. JOK would be the only one. All the rest of them are off limits. I wouldn't do any.
He seems like a good dude, but he's married. I'm pretty sure he's got a wife.
But
Yeah,
after seeing that performance, I'd be like, no, none of you are good enough.
None of
JOK,
you.
yes. Nobody else.
Newsom, don't even come within the same area code.
Yeah, Newsom, get the hell out of it. Yeah, we're not doing.
Go back and hit the books at Northwestern. Figured out what a zone defense is.
That's right. I don't want a guy who dances more than I do, and I'm a pop singer, right?
Yeah, you got the moves. I've seen it.
That's right. That's right. If you're Taylor Swift, you're not dating somebody who's trying to dance more than you. So you're not going for anybody in our section.
I mean, could you see her doing the strap dance? Like, because that's a little provocative for a chick to be doing this move. You can't have it. Can't have it.
Nope.
But what you can have, though, is a damn good time, which I had with you here again tonight, Chris. We got a big divisional playoff game. We got the championship game, 4 games down to 2 games next week. We'll do a deep dive on that, and hope for some good football, man. I see some lopsided spreads. Just hope for some good, clean football that's entertaining. I want to see some wild. I want to see some crazy. And you know what? I wouldn't be mad if we saw all upsets, except for the Bills game. I think Bills beating Chiefs, even though the 3-point favorites, would be an upset. But that's just my own opinion on that one. But I want to see carnage. I want to see a wild card team hosting the playoff game next weekend.
Yeah, and I would like to see the Bills continue to win, and I'd like to see Detroit continue to win. I want to see that Super Bowl. That's still my dream. Now that the Browns are out of it, I want to see those 2 teams. That'd be good for the neighborhood. I've said this before.
Yeah, Buffalo's still Lake Erie, right?
That's exactly right. It's just like your neighborhood. We're kind of in that neighborhood that's been downtrodden for quite some time here in the Midwest. You love to see those teams that are kind of doing good by themselves. You're seeing your neighbors maybe with a nicer car, and you're like, yeah, there you go. Someday I'm going to be right there with them. But for right now, that's good for the neighborhood. So I like to see that. So go for those 2 teams.
I'm down for it. All right, everybody. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
wow. Okay, Damon in the back. Let's go.
We got graphics going.
We got up to speed picks. So there is our picks. No differences to the front.
I don't think that I picked Kansas City.
Nope, we got that backwards. We got it flipped.
I think we
That's all right.
We got it all right a little bit.
Well, we'll just give you the one that ever loses. It's all good. It's all good.
That's right.
We're going to give you some old Houston Texan home cooking.
I'll go ahead and fill out the graphics as the games go on this weekend.
I'll
have it to you Sunday night.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, good luck this weekend, man. Enjoy it. I just hope you have a good time, man. And thank you so much for spending the time you do give us over on the Dude Network, man. And everybody, watch Big Play Network.
Quick plug. We've got a mystery guest on our show on Monday. I'm not going to reveal who it is, but for us Browns fans that are out there, you're going to want to tune into this one. We had some news this week. It's related to the news. We've got one of those guys is going to come on our airwaves at 9:00 on Monday night. So tune in, check us out. The Big Play Cleveland Show on YouTube, on my Twitter account at Reflog_18, and wherever you go for all your podcasts. Big Play Cleveland Show.
Watch it on Bally Sports.
And watch it on Bally Sports as well. And iHeart. You listen to it on iHeart.
Look at you, man. Just moving up to the TV world, FaceTime.
All over the place.
All over the
ugly mug on TV. It's great.
That's
all across Northeast Ohio in muted bars.
All I hear is a lot of beautiful, lucky people that get to take it all in. That's all.
There you go.
All right, everybody. You have a good one.